Honestly, I think it should be called like Joy Haven.
Yeah, because it brings
Glee
us
Haven.
joy.
Happy Haven.
Safe haven.
Liz loves the idea. Hey everyone, we are LDG. I am Nighthawk. Actually, I'm Brooks, but that's my character's name.
I am Bloodwrath the Defiler,
Wow.
and I used to be Nyx, and I'm Kitty right now.
You really look like a Bloodwrath the Defiler.
Yeah, exactly.
You really do.
And I am Swarbach, used to be Gallus, or Lizzy.
You gotta say it with a lot of phlegm.
Swarbach.
Not that
much.
And this is Fresh Thoughts for the sponsored water bottle that Liz has. This is our Fresh Thoughts for a Gloomhaven. One of our favorite games of all time.
Absolutely.
We're finally getting around to do Fresh Thoughts for it.
Yes.
We just had a pretty epic replay of Scenario 1, didn't we, guys?
Yeah. That way we got to play all of the 6 starting characters for this video.
We were babies again. We started from the bottom.
I felt incredibly broke.
So did I.
We would just like to clarify, Kitty contributed nil.
I mean, I did
Nothing.
kill that one guy.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
you-
1 out of like 100 monsters. Thanks.
You had life left.
And I gave
life.
one guy like about half of his health down. And I also provided moral support.
Well, that's the most important.
Okay, I just want
I
to
do
say
think-
that I was the one saving all of you and like healing you up throughout the entire game.
Okay, all right. Well,
I
see,
mean,
as everyone can see, Liz likes to weave her own narrative.
Oh,
Yeah.
go watch the playthrough. You'll
that
see.
one room that we were in that one time, Brooksby.
The room. Okay, so I was the brute this time around. That's not my typical character, but we played with a different starter character, so we could all get kind of a feel of all the starter characters. I've been the Spellweaver before, and the brute this time.
And I do have to say, I think Alara, your Spellweaver, was like one of my favorite starting characters.
Such a good starting character.
Yeah, she was really good. Really
She was
interesting.
Yeah, she had real interesting magic, very kind of, not quite a support character, but she kind of helped create lots of magic, and which worked with a lot of stuff Liz had at the time, which was nice.
She had some good like area attacks too, if I remember right. That came in almost like a tank sometimes.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
the Tinkerer, which was great with ranged, and I could just go in and manipulate stuff, which was really fun.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
who was I this time? The
Yeah.
Brute.
The brute.
Just like what it sounds. It's literally that. He was cool though, kind of interesting, and he could charge up his attacks by how much he moved.
That was a cool card.
Yeah, so
And Lizzy, this time you were the Craig heart.
Yeah, which I didn't get to do a whole lot as far as it was really obstacle focused. Like you could make obstacles and then push people into them. I didn't get to do that really, but it was a really unique concept. I basically healed and did a lot of melee damage. Which...
Crag Heart in life and the game.
But
You know what I do really like is it seems like for on the whole, like none of the characters, their archetypes aren't really like set in stone. It's like you're a tank, but you can also move a lot and do other really cool things. Or like you're a Craig heart and you're like this big burly, you know, beast. Yet
Or you're a mouse and you stay in the background while
pretty
everyone else does
much.
everything.
She's a mind thief. She was stealing our minds the entire time, making us go crazy because she wasn't helping.
I mean, I did move you and make your
I
turn
think-
useless because I moved you.
I think you were kind of. It was weird because you had really. So the Mind Thief, the mouse we're making fun of, has really low health.
Really low health. Yeah.
With kind of unique mechanics for what they can do, where they can kind of move you around, similar to a character from Jaws.
Yeah.
But you were disadvantaged because you took a lot of damage at first, and then you had to kind of
Back
retreat.
to get
And then
healthy.
after you retreated, you weren't able to kind of catch up to
Yeah.
what Liz and I were.
And that character
doing.
in Jaws starts off with more health, I
Yeah.
believe.
Liz was powerful. She
She
was.
was.
The thing I liked about your character, Liz, is you seem to have been dishing out just as much damage as you were being able to heal. So you were really
Yeah.
kind of aggressive hero.
I was like, I could on one turn go and beat the baddies up, and then on the next turn be like, okay, Brixby, here's 4 health. And then Kitty, here's a couple because, you've been back there being useless, so. But I really did like your augment, which was the Mind Thief, which is those special powers you can lay down and
I do think the Mind might be a little better once you get like a little further in, because he had some cards, or she had some cards. I think it's female, right?
Who cares? It's whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, but they had some cards that let you kind of what am I thinking of? Some cards with the conditions. That's the word I was looking for. So the conditions, like once they stack, you add damage per condition they have. So like once you have tons of people given lots of conditions, it might get better.
Yeah, and I think those augments, like Liz said, need to be played a really specific way for it to have maximum effect. But that's a lot of character analysis, but that's just, we have done the whole swath of starter characters and some of the non-starter characters, because we're about a year into our official campaign, right?
Almost. It was in last year.
It was. Liz was at work. We told her we had a surprise for her.
We learned the game.
And ever since then, we've actually spent just as much time learning the rules to this game as we have playing the game, because every single time we play it, Liz will be like, hey, I looked into the rule book and I discovered something that we should have known a long time ago.
And then this last time I actually found out something while we were playing, and I was just like, oh, I wish I didn't read that card again.
My favorite rule faux pas is
stamina.
Still, how we were using stamina potions to get cards out of the lost instead of your discard.
I missed that so much.
It was so nice. But we have disadvantaged ourselves in games before, making it harder.
We have.
A lot more often than making the game easier for ourselves. So
it evens out.
It's not like we just rested on our laurels and cheated. But what is it about Gloomhaven, guys? What is it that makes it so omnipresent?
It just feels epic.
Yeah, I love the evolving characters. You get your experience points, you get gold, you can spend it however you want. And just how you spend it is so impactful. And then when you level up, whatever card you choose impacts the rest of your trajectory.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like you said, since it does feel like it's evolving and your characters are evolving, when you kind of crisscross in and out of Gloomhaven for the various things you have to go in there for and leave, it really feels like this story of like this group of mercenaries that work together, that experience lives together. Some of them leave, we get new members. It's so cool.
Like it almost feels a little bit like some of the RPGs video game-wise that we've loved and played.
Sure. Very Divinity kind of.
Exactly. Yeah. And then I also really love like the events, the road events, city events, things like that. I feel like there's a little bit of everything, like a little bit of Euro game, a little bit choose your own adventure.
And luck. With the modifier deck, like it feels like the right amount of
it's not dice driven. It's, you can clearly know the statistics behind it if you're into that. But it's like your luck of pulling your miss as well as your bless increases with every draw you do, which is really cool.
And it's deck builder-ish because you are the one that's modifying your modifier deck with your upgrades. So you're choosing how to make that more, I hate this word, statistically better or worse.
It's not a curse word.
Any math word just tastes bad in my mouth.
It tastes exciting.
Okay. That's a video for another day. Yeah, it's big too. It's big. It doesn't even feel like there's an end in sight, which is awesome. No. We do a campaign, we keep on trucking.
Yeah, and it's not like just like point A to point B. It feels like, like say again, I'd hate to use a video game reference again, but like you have all these side quests and missions, and it's like you're just like crossing tons of different paths. It's not just, are you going to go down this road or that road? It's like,
and the personal quests make it really hard. Like for instance, I mean, Liz, you had a specific creatures. I had a certain number of types of quests. There's all kinds of different stuff that factors in, except unless you're Kitty, who we could not get to retire no matter what we did.
It took us a year. 6 months after we retired, Brooksy and I, Kitty finally retires.
At least I got my character to level 9. There was that. That was kind of cool, but yeah.
I do really like the retirement, just idea in general. Like, you have this lifelong goal for your character, and once it's achieved, they move on, and you get this new character that is related to your goal. And it's really cool that you get to, how you kind of sort of played the game impacts who you get.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
And the character that retires could circle back into another play at a later date with the upgrades you gave them.
Right.
So it's literally like you're just checking back in with that adventurer years later, and this is what
like
they're
a
doing.
veteran.
Or maybe their cousin or something, they gave them some good advice.
Yeah, passed on. Yeah, it's so cool.
I also have to say I've almost cried or cried when we retired before.
Oh, Gallus' retirement.
We cried out of joy when you finally
We did. That was exciting. That was amazing.
Your character.
I will say one thing about the Scoundrel, too, really quick, is I feel like that's another character kind of like the Mind Thief, where if you're playing them, it's really awesome possibilities, but it's very sort of specific things.
Yeah.
That, they really shine in, and then everything else not maybe as much as some of the others.
My current character for my advanced plays, what is his class?
It's the Eclipse, I think is what it's called.
That thing, we don't want to do too many spoilers for what types of character it is, but very cool with invisibility, which is a neat kind of thing that a lot of people love, so it plays with that. And then there's different kinds of magic for all the different, magical creatures, which is amazing.
Mine I think is Tentacle Face or something like that is what it's called. But I really like that it's a manipulative. I really like how it manipulates things.
So I'm going to force everyone to say something bad about it. Say something critical. What would you improve? What would you change?
I would have changed some of the puzzles to not be so egotistical. For some of the translations. If that means nothing, don't worry about it.
We're going to just put a spoiler alert, a small spoiler alert. We're going to be very vague.
Spoiler warning.
But we are going to talk about some of the puzzles you encounter in vague ways.
That was going to be my answer, too.
So if you don't, that's going to be my answer, too.
It was just, it seems very egotistical and it pulled you out of the story.
That's
and it made you look on a internet page.
Okay, that was saying a lot, but
it just wasn't immersive.
It broke immersion, is what it did, which is important in a game like this that's so epic and lasts such a long time, and you're working on this cryptic puzzle for a while, and then the result is something very lackluster. I wish they would have included something else. Like a little codex book, something else.
Whereas, if you're playing, the detective game or whatever, and you literally have to Google things online, well, that feels immersive for that, because you're in a modern day.
Detective, yeah.
But to do it with something
that you have a world that's created, you should be in that world the entire time.
Exactly. I think everything's relatively balanced. I like the scaling of the monsters as you go up in level.
I will say I have one more negative.
Okay.
Which is, it's not even a negative maybe, it's more of a nitpick. I just wish it was not as expensive to upgrade your crops.
Oh, I thought you meant cost. I mean, it's an expensive game. There's a lot in there, Kitty.
Okay, so I kind of agree with you, and we as a group have house ruled a little bit of financial rules. So for instance, if you retire, we've house ruled that you can carry over, I don't know,
a quarter of your gold.
A quarter of your gold. I forget what we said.
And then there was a cap limit. I have it written down. But
yeah, it was a percentage or a cap, whichever one was lower or something. We decided, just so that it wasn't so stark. It's kind of the retainer that was, I don't know, the retainer from the mercenary group or something like that. To the newbie, I don't know.
The sign-on bonus. Companies do that all the time.
Oh, there you go. It just, because it's such an abrupt end, especially like for Kitty, who was a 9 character and then dropped all the way down to
5.
A 5 with no money.
And just those card upgrades, because the higher the card is, the more it costs for each level, for each this, for each that, and it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's really pricey. So like, for instance, if you have a level 5 card with 2 upgrades already on it, it's astronomical.
Yeah, it's not worth it to upgrade it at that point.
It's like an a la carte menu in there for, if it's this, it's $100. If it has this, it's an extra $100, and it's very expensive.
Although it is fun to bring out the menu and be like, what are you ordering?
What should we upgrade in this time?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just a nitpick. Anything else? Do you have anything else negative to find?
I mean, it's been said by a lot of people before, just the variety or lack thereof and a lot of the end goals.
Gotcha.
In the scenarios, just every scenario, well, not every scenario, but a lot of the scenarios have started to feel a little bit, okay, we got to go in and we got to do this that we have done 100 times before.
Exactly. Or maybe some of the rewards that you get for completing, like, for instance, this isn't a spoiler because this is pretty well known for anyone who's touched the game. You can unlock other characters from completing goals for the character you're on. We found that, was it 2 or all 3 of our goals or something lined up so that we would get the same reward, and so it didn't feel as unique as if each character had a unique upgrade or a unique unlockable.
Well, in the solo scenarios, they do.
Well, we haven't done our solo yet, so.
We're bad kids.
You guys haven't.
Well, if nobody has another negative, I want to ask everybody, like, non-spoilery, your favorite moment so far in the campaign. Because I think mine was when we fought a certain boss that I didn't want to fight.
Yes, there's a particular baddie that Kitty really liked and didn't want to be a baddie.
Yeah.
So is that your favorite?
That's my favorite because I still remember that day.
I think mine is probably when we finally got underwater breathing, and then we did that one underwater-ish one that we've been wanting to do for a long time.
And made it so that Kitty could retire.
Exactly.
Which mine was actually my character's retirement process. It was one of those ones that you had to do scenarios in order to retire. So it was a really awesome, like really thematic, I felt, experience. And
climactic.
Yeah.
Too. It was really climactic. The way the scenarios we were writing to get to your ending was so cool. Yeah. I mean, we went to some of the cool locations, like
for sure.
Altar of Strength or whatever it's called, and some of those other really cool ones.
It felt like a mini movie.
And it was intense.
But yeah, we find it coming to the table all the time, always feel the same way before and after. I mean, we even do rankings of each campaign. We write what date we did it, just because it all feels so unique every time, and not like you're just getting a game you've played a lot out onto the table again. It feels different every time. It's
fun, too, because then when we bring out our campaign book, we see things like, you know, Happy Valentine's Day or Happy Joe Biden Day or whatever. Like different things, people's birthdays. So
yeah, so we've commemorated things with Gloomhaven plays, which is why it should be called Joyhaven. Okay, well, I think we've said our piece on a game that we obsess over all the time and put on all of our top 10 lists. And
I mean, is it moot to even say our ratings?
Well, I mean, I think we could, but we could also talk a little bit about our remote gaming hack.
Yes.
So what we do is we actually have this, which is just a tool for movement. So you say what line you're going out of. So for instance, if you're here and you want to go up, you just say you're going out your 1. If you're coming out this side, you're going out your 6. It's really easy. Makes it so that you can play very easily on remote play.
And it cuts down on the time that it takes normally to tell someone, no, your left, no, your other left, no, your third
and
left.
Up that
and
way,
then
no, towards the other, towards that door.
know the coin, the other coin.
The other
yeah.
side of the street.
It's so much easier to be like, I'm going to move 2, 4, 4, and I'm landing on the coin. You know, I'm picking up this coin, or I'm going to go out the doors 3. It's so much easier.
And it's helped us in other games now, too.
Yeah, and then we split the responsibility. So Liz mans the monster deck and things like that.
The battle deck, the one that battle modifier, and then they actually man the what number they are deck. Yes.
Initiative,
yeah.
Exactly. And then how we do, like, what cards we're selecting, we just say the words of it, which is really makes it feel a little bit more thematic. So I could be, Gnashing Storm or something like that.
Or what's your 2 cards? Rock Tornado and Dirt something, and then you always say
Dirt
Rock
Tornado.
Dirt or Dirt Rock.
Yeah, I think it was Dirt Rock or Rock Dirt, one of the two.
But yeah, it's a good way that we can, instead of just yelling numbers out all the time when you're playing a game, you're like 4, 7, 24, 52. It gets kind of boring.
Bingo.
Bingo. Whereas we are making it so it's a little more interesting. Unless you have a deck like Kitty's, where the only combination she would ever play
Burning stick.
was burning.
Open stick.
Open stick. Stick open. Stick burning.
Yeah, I was so happy you retired just so we no longer had to hear those combinations.
You guys were in burning pain.
What's your new one that you were playing every time yesterday?
Oh, Into. And
Into.
Then whatever.
Yeah.
I'm into something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it translates surprisingly for such a vast game. It translates great over remote play. We don't have any issues. And I get all cheesy, and every time I say the same thing when I talk about Gloomhaven, but it really dissolves that separation between us, and we kind of feel like we're together doing this epic dungeon crawl. So yeah,
exactly.
So I think that's why it's a 10 for me. It's my favorite game currently of all time. So.
It's a 10 for me as well, although it ranks a little bit lower on my all-time favorite list. You should check out our top 10 if you haven't. But I was like 4, I think, in my top 10.
What is it for you, Kitty?
Well,
because it's even lower than Liz's list.
No. It is a 10 for me, and it's actually my number 4. And I just should have put a different other game at 5, and that one at 4. So it is my number 4.
No, on the video it says 5. And that is set in stone, clearly.
I just really, really, really wanted to do that one game that we all got really obsessed with for that short period of time at the moment, or something. I don't know. The Mind Thief took over my list.
Gotcha. Okay, well, I don't think we need to clarify anymore that we love it. But, yeah, if you haven't spent the money on it, we do have to say that we talk a lot about a game's worth versus how much you have to pay for it, because the price points are getting higher, aren't they?
They are.
And I think this one's worth it. I think Gloomhaven is packed with just tons of plays. I know we're going to be playing it for a couple more years probably.
Well, that and
with everything being new and not repetitive. So,
for sure.
Yeah. I think it's worth it.
And I think, I remember when you first decided to buy it, it was the Shut Up and Sit Down review that I actually got you to watch. That was like the final. And so I'm always just really happy that did it. Because I was like, I had a feeling it was going to be a
We all had a feeling it was going to be great, but Brooksy and I had to buy it, Kitty. You didn't.
I know. The coattails.
And you look at a game that's, 100 to 150, depending on when you buy it or where you buy it.
Not to mention that could be however many other games throughout.
Exactly. That's 2, 3, 4 possibly other games, depending on what kinds of games you get. And you're just like, ooh, this better pay off. This better pay off. All these reviews better be right.
Fun. It better be fun, yeah.
But, yeah, can't endorse it high enough. So.
Yes.
Okay.
What do you guys think? Was that our fresh thoughts?
Yeah, I think we covered it.
Maybe we're kind of stale, but
I mean,
like your character.
Leave Nyx alone. So, until next time, just remember to have fun.
Always lag in the background and not contribute. I mean, be present.
And be you. Thank you all for watching. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to us. We would love to hear from you. Also, if you find value in our content, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let a family or friend member know that we exist. Help us spread our channel and bring remote gaming to a table near you. Thank you very much, and have a great day.
I'm still bitter about that last play,
I
Kenny.
know you are.